It is Monday, and I am back doing my daily thought. I am your host, Casey Phoenix, and whew, oh boy, I don't know. I have some things on my mind. And as I do this, I'll look at the camera and sometimes not look at the camera for those who are just listening to the podcast. I guess it doesn't matter right now if I look at the camera or not. I'm scratching my right arm is what I'm doing because for some reason my arm keeps breaking out. I don't know what the deal is with that because all I drink is water mostly. I drink bottled water, purified. It's rare I drink anything else. I usually drink maybe sometimes cranberry juice, but outside of cranberry juice, and also flaxseed milk, which I love flaxseed milk. Oh my goodness, it is so good. I have a weird taste, and I know this is random. I'm just throwing this out here before I go on the show. I just feel like talking right now, but I have weird taste buds where I like the taste of things that people may not like the taste of. And one thing I like is something that tastes kind of bland. Like it doesn't really have that much of a taste to it. That's why some people I know don't drink water because they're like, it doesn't taste like anything. But to me, water tastes refreshing. But back to the flaxseed milk. I had discovered it because I was looking for some almond milk. It was almond and cashew milk because it has the protein in it. And I had bought that last time, but then I checked the sodium content and I didn't like the sodium content. So I was like, okay, are there any other options? Well, luckily, thanks to the wonderful age of technology, it always offers options when you're shopping online. And they're like, hey, you bought this last time. Have you ever considered this? And then one of the things that it offered was flaxseed milk. And I was like, well, I know flaxseed is good for you, but I didn't know they could make it as a milk. I knew they could do almond milk, cashew milk, and all types of other milk, coconut milk, which I used to drink coconut milk. But you know what? My grandmother had told me, and I probably mentioned this on one of my other episodes, when I was telling my granny one day, I'll never forget it, both my grandparents are, they've passed away now. But when I used to visit my granny, my dad's mother, I would be around her all the time. And I said to her one day that I don't like chocolate ice cream anymore. And I was like, and I don't like Doritos anymore. I'm like, why is that? And she said, because you've gotten older. She said, as you get older, your taste will change. And I was like, oh, okay. Thanks, Granny. And it makes sense. It's almost like the other saying that I love that I heard from another source: as our lives change, so do our needs. But as you get older, your taste will change sometimes. And I used to love coconut milk, but for some reason, and I can still drink it, but I don't have the same taste for it that I used to have. Well, anyway, back to the flaxseed milk. So I ordered the flaxseed milk and gave it a try. I was more interested in the vitamins and things within it, like the sodium content vitamins, which, just so you know, if you're looking for vitamin A, flaxseed milk has a lot of vitamin A in it. So keep that in mind too. If you want to get vitamin A in your diet, it has a lot of vitamin A in it. But I went ahead, I gave it a try, and I was like, wow, this stuff tastes so refreshing. Because it's not a strong taste. It's very bland. And when you say bland, some people think of a negative connotation, but I think of where it's not overpowering. It's not an overpowering taste that lingers in your mouth. So I had tried it, And ever since I tried the flaxseed milk, that's what I've been drinking, is the flaxseed milk. And you can get it with calcium or protein added into it, because there's different variations of it. But it's just really, really good. So that's the other thing that I will drink sometimes. But outside of water, cranberry juice, and flaxseed milk, which I have to, which the reason I drink the flaxseed milk is because of the cereal. With the cereal, which Ezekiel cereal, I forgot what it's called. Looking over there and I don't see it. I think it's 4-9 or 4-6 or something like that. It's really good. You can get it from Whole Foods or order it through Swanson's. I think it's a grain cereal, and it also is very plain, very bland. It's another thing that doesn't have any type of extra taste, and it's healthy grains is what's in it. So, and that's usually what I drink my flaxseed milk with. Sometimes I drink flaxseed milk by itself, but anyways, I'm babbling. So yeah, that's why it's like I don't really drink anything crazy. I don't drink soda. I don't drink alcohol. I don't drink any other stuff that you can really think of. So I'm like, why is my skin breaking out like this? So hopefully, whatever purification my body is going through, it'll be over with soon enough. Now that I've rambled on and talked about different liquids and stuff, I can go ahead and get into my daily thought. And for those who are watching for the first time, my daily thought is a supplement to Keeping It Real with KC. The Keeping It Real with KC show is a weekend show. And as a matter of fact, this past weekend I did the Wacky News. If you haven't watched or listened to the Wacky News episodes, check those out. I talked about chocolate snow. I talked about public see-through restrooms. And I talked about a shoe thief. Those were the 3 episodes I did this past weekend. So if you're looking for some wacky news to take your mind off of things, check out those episodes, which they're up on YouTube and they're on the podcast, KIRWKC.com. And if you want to follow on any of the social media platforms, KIRWKC is what the handle is for all the social media platforms, including Facebook as well. All right. Audit. Audit. Anytime people hear audit, they think of the IRS is usually what they think of, which I even hate saying those letters, and I rebuke them in all that is holy. I rebuke them. Stay away from me. I don't want to see you when it comes to the IRS. I fight with them constantly. But audit is a term for review. Meaning, when I worked at one of my old jobs, one thing that we had to do, they called it a visual audit, where in customer service at that job, when we pulled up a client's account, we had to look at everything on the account and try to figure out what they were calling about before they asked the question. Or if they called about one thing, make sure you've done your visual audit before you let them off the phone to see if there are any other issues that may pop up later and discuss them as a preemptive to keep them from calling back in again right after they hang up. So that's another visual audit. So an audit is a review. When it comes to relationships, and I need to talk about the genesis of this entire daily thought, how this happened. Okay, you know that I watch a lot of tarot card readings. And one girl was saying something that just didn't sit well with my spirit. It just didn't. I could understand the logic of what she was saying, but I couldn't get on board. She couldn't sell me on her idea of handling something that way. And what she was saying, and not that she was a bad reader, because she did a fine job. She had said about cutting people out of your life. You shouldn't necessarily cut people out of your life. You should figure out how they can fit into your life for something that benefits you. Where find out what benefits you. Okay, I need to articulate this correctly. Figure out the thing that they bring to the table that can benefit you, and assign that to them and give that energy to them. But don't invest any other energy in them. Just invest enough energy where the thing that they can do, the thing that they do that brings benefit to your life, that's all you can take from them. Versus cutting them out of your life altogether. For me, as a Cancerian, I can be sensitive at times and emotional and a little bit dramatic. I don't believe in operating like that, because when I heard it felt like that was the mindset of a user, of someone who uses people. And I'm doing my best not to come across as saying her mindset was wrong. I'm saying that her mindset doesn't fit for me. And again, as I've said before, we're all individuals. Everyone is completely different. It's just me personally. I don't see having someone in my life or keeping someone in my life just for a specific thing that benefits me. I would rather be without, depending on certain situations. Now, because she said that, it made me start thinking about relationships in general, relationships across the board. And one of my episodes of Keeping It Real with KC, I believe the title of the episode is Be Careful with Who and How You Share Your Energy. So yeah. This is kind of in that territory. This is in a lot of territories of some of my previous episodes. This could even be in the polite versus fake territory, and you have as much of me as I'm able to give territory, and all types of things. Talking about boundaries, energy, and everything else. But when we talk about relationships, I don't care if it is a relationship with a friend, if it is a relationship with a coworker, if it is a relationship with your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, your auntie, your uncle, your grandmother, your grandfather, your cousin, second cousin, third cousin, fourth cousin, fifth cousin, sixth cousin once removed. I don't care who the relationship is with. This is how I view things. All relationships are subject to audit, meaning all relationships are subject to being reviewed. Now, one thing about yours truly, I usually give a lot of passes with situations. When someone does something, unless it's just way off in left field, I'll usually give a pass, and I might give some more. Everything's on a case by case basis until the passes run out. And then when I'm done with you, I'm done with you. Or, like she was saying, but without keeping a person around for some type of benefit, it's just I'll let you stay around, but don't expect much of my energy. I'm not looking for anything from you. You can stay in my life and in my circle, but I'm not looking for anything from you. I'm not keeping you in my life or in my circle just because of some type of present benefit or possible future benefit. I'm not doing that. I don't operate like that. With an audit, you have to determine what relationships work best for you. When I do an audit, I look at something, and if I feel that this individual no longer needs to be in my life, I'm done. And usually I'm done for good. It's very rare that I'm like, oh, okay, well, let's hang out again, da, 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 da. That's very rare it happens. I can probably count on two hands how many times that's happened in my 41 years of being on this earth. So let's make that clear. I don't want people to just discard others in their life left and right. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying as soon as somebody does something, you're running your audit and you're like, oh no, they gotta go. No, I'm not saying that. What I am saying is it comes back to balance. If you're not balanced due to this relationship, whatever it may be, and I don't care who it's with, and I need to make this crystal clear. I don't care who the relationship is with. Friends, family, co-workers, I don't care. If someone is constantly keeping you unbalanced, and you've done an audit, and you've determined that the source of the imbalance is that individual, and it would be to your best interest to remove what doesn't serve you, I recommend you do it. Some people don't do that. And the reason I titled my daily thought all, and I might capitalize it when I upload this, all, A-L-L, all meaning everything, meaning 100%, meaning the entire thing. All relationships are subject to audit. Some people say, oh, well, that's my cousin. You know, we grew up together. She braided, she used to braid my hair on the porch and do this and do that. Let me tell you, I had one of my cousins I used to rock with hard. We grew up together, stayed at my granny's house together. I used to rock with her hard. She did some stuff that I'm just like, no. And some people are like, oh, well, you should let it go. You should let it roll off your shoulder. You know, she's your cousin and she didn't mean any harm and all this other stuff. I'm not trying to hear it. Not when I open my heart to you. And this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm saying. All relationships are open to audit. When you open your heart to someone and let someone in on a relationship of any level, and they do things that throw you off balance, and again, I'm not saying just kick someone to the wind off of one single thing, because We're all human, and we all make mistakes, all of us, myself included. I can be reckless with my mouth sometimes, at least so I've been told. And I can be stubborn as hell, at least so I've been told. And I can be a know-it-all, at least so I've been told. So we're not perfect. None of us are perfect. I'm saying you have to do an audit over time and see what works best for you. If you have someone in your life that isn't really rooting for you or is bringing in negative energy while you're trying to pursue a dream, but they're bringing in negative energy like you can't do it. And I'm not saying they have to be rah, 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 you got to do it. But at the same time, less is more. Silence is truly golden, even though it's coming from me and my job is to talk all the time. But silence is golden. Sometimes you don't need to say anything. Sometimes you let people do them. If you agree with it, cheer them on. If you don't agree with it, take a seat. If you want to give constructive criticism, okay, then pull the correct words together and bring it to them with an open mind and a caring heart. On that level. But if there's someone where they're just keeping you off balance, they have that negative energy that's happening, okay, fine. You need to consider auditing the relationship and then removing what doesn't serve you, regardless of what their relation is to you. When it comes to marriages, same thing. All relationships are subject to audit. If you have a man or a woman cheating on you all the time, all relationships are subject to audit. You have to figure out what works best for you. But if you're in balance this entire time and you're still dealing with this for whatever reason, then not only is the relationship subject to audit at that time, you might need to do an internal audit of your self-esteem and your soul. But not to get too far off on that. Same thing with children. For the parents that have children. Some parents are like, I can't cut my child off. Well, all relationships are subject to audit. If your child is bringing you constant misery and you've done everything that you can do, now I'm not saying if you have a 10-year-old and he's been hell on wheels for the past 9 years, that you need to drop him off at the adoption agency. I'm not saying that. I'm talking about young adults is what I'm talking about, or adults. And by young adults, I mean 18 older. They're out of high school, meaning you've already done your part as a parent. All relationships are subject to audit. And if you've done everything that you can do for your child, where do you want to stay in a constant state of pain? I wouldn't want anybody to stay in for their children. I understand flesh of my flesh, blood of my blood. I get that. I get it. I just couldn't imagine a parent, mother or father, staying in a constant state of pain for their child and vice versa. I couldn't imagine a son or daughter staying in a constant state of pain for their parent. Now, if somebody can't take care of themselves or there's many variables that can be looked at with every single situation. But that's what the audit is for, to determine what is legitimate and to determine what is illegitimate in the relationship. That's what the audit's for. If all you see are red flags, red flags, red flags, red flags, just like with the IRS, if somebody files their taxes and the IRS is reviewing everything and all they're seeing is red flags, red flags, red flags, audit. We need to have a conversation. That's when they ask you, what's good? Now, letting go of people can be difficult. But I'm going to go back to energy. When you let go of energy that is keeping you imbalanced, not only will you start to fall in balance, fall in, not M, but in, I-N is in Nancy. Not only will you fall in balance, the universe will also deliver more energy to help you maintain that balance. When you let go of what kept you imbalanced, or should I say unbalanced. So yeah, it's amazing that it can be imbalanced or with an I-M as in Mary, or unbalanced, which synonymous. But when you let go of that energy, it helps with bringing you back to balance. And then also the universe can bring in energy that will assist you with maintaining that balance. That energy that the universe sends your way may be a new individual. It could be a new husband, a new wife. It could be a mother type figure. It could be a brother type figure. It could be a sister type figure. It could be a cousin type figure. It could be whatever is needed, because the universe knows what you need. All you gotta do is ask. The universe knows, God, universe, whatever you want to call it, knows what you need. Ask for it. It doesn't hurt. One thing that always amazes me, just on a little side note too, while I'm thinking about it, for those who are not into energy, the universe, God, or religious or whatever, and they're like, well, I'm just not going to ask, or I'm not going to pray, or I'm not going to do this, or I'm not going to do that. What do you have to lose? That's the question of the day. What do you have to lose just by asking the universe? What do you have to lose? To say, hey, if there's anybody out there listening, please send me this. Now, again, law of attraction, like it was said before, and like I've said before, as I heard from another individual, the last 6 letters in attraction is action. So don't think that, oh, you're just going to ask for something and then it's just going to appear. It doesn't always work like that. Not saying it's impossible, but it's more likely if you put action into whatever you're seeking. Seek and ye shall find. Knock and the door shall be opened. So, I want to be clear on that. However, what does it hurt? What do you have to lose just by asking? Please bring this into my life. Or please remove this from my life after you did your audit. Please get whatever this is, this person who cannot stay away from the drink, out of my life. Please get this person who physically abuses me out of my life. Please get this person who emotionally abuses me out of my life. Please get this person who lies to me all the time out of my life. And the list goes on and on. Take your pick. So, what do you have to lose just by asking? But I'm at 30 minutes now, so I'm going to wrap this on up. My thing is that you have to learn that there are situations, even extreme situations, where letting go may be the best thing for you. And that you can't say all relationships, you can't say that certain relationships are off limits when it comes to audit. You can't say, oh, well, I could never audit this relationship, or I could never audit that relationship because of this, and that. Take that right on off the table. All relationships are subject to audit. And I feel if people would have that mentality that all relationships are subject to audit, and for the individuals in your life, if they knew you had that mentality that all relationships are subject to audit, they might act a little bit differently too. Because with some people, they act a certain way because they know you will respond a certain way. They know that, oh, well, they're not going to cut me off. They're not going to do it. I remember one of my cousins, and I told this story too, probably on one of my other episodes, where, and this is a different cousin. The cousin I used to hang out with from time to time, it was that cousin and their siblings. I decided to try and strengthen the bonds of family. And for those who are listening, I did an eye roll. And hang out with this particular cousin a little bit more. This cousin knew one of my high school friends. They knew one of my high school friends because my high school friend was dating that cousin's sibling, which is also my cousin, too. And we had me and my cousin had a brief conversation because I was like, oh, you know, such and such, da 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 da. That's it. Chopped it up a little bit. I didn't think it was anything. I go back to school because this cousin was already out of school, and plus they didn't go to the school I went to anyway. I go back to school. My friend, my high school friend, which I still rock with, I would still rock with her if I ran into her, which I don't talk to her anymore, but if I ran into her on the street, I'd still rock with her because she was cool as hell. My high school friend approached me and said, why did you tell such and such this, and this? And I'm like, I didn't say any of that stuff. At all. None of that stuff. I didn't say any of that. That is not true. Come to find out, when I found out through another relative, that cousin that I decided I wanted to strengthen the family bonds with, eye roll, is a habitual liar. And the rest of the family knew about it. But I didn't know. And that's when I found out because of what happened with my high school friend. And her and I were still cool because after I explained the situation, and she knew me. She knew if I said something, I said what I said. It isn't, oh, well, no, he's making stuff up or he's lying or he's going back on what he may have said. No, she knew if I said I didn't say it, I didn't say it. Because those who know me know if I say something and you ask me if I said it, be careful with that because I'll tell you the truth. Now, once it was determined that my cousin had told these lies, I did an audit. And that was one of those situations where I was like, okay, this needs to be removed. I haven't dealt with that cousin ever since. Period. Anytime they bring up that cousin, and the rest of my family still deals with that cousin, I don't rock with that cousin. Period. Because you told lies on me to one of my friends. And the family knows that you are a liar. They can associate with you. I don't want that energy in my life. Just like the other cousin I told you about earlier, there were some incidents where after the first time I was like, okay, fine, whatever, we're going to let it slide because we go back. We grew up together. We used to hang out at my grandmother's house together. I would do anything. I would have done anything for her, period. I would have done a bid for her. Nothing was off limits for that cousin. That's the one I grew up with. Would have done anything. Literally. So I let that first incident slide, and then there was another incident. Sort of the same way. I did an audit. I said, no more. Because this person has already shown me who they are. There isn't anything they can bring to any type of energy they can bring to my life that would serve me. Now, that cousin and my mother are best friends. They're cool as hell. But I'm not rocking with her. And I let her mother know. My cousin's mother know, my auntie. Which is probably why my auntie don't talk to me hardly anymore. And I'm fine with that. But I let her know, I'm not rocking with your daughter because she's trifling. And I told my auntie that. So that was a situation where I did an audit and it was like, okay, this has to go. And that's why I'm doing this episode. All relationships, capitalize the word all, are subject to audit. Quit keeping people in your life that are leaving you unbalanced. I'm not saying cut everybody off left and right. Don't do that. That's stupid. What I am saying is weigh everything and see where you're at on the scale. If you're not balanced because of a specific relationship, regardless of who it's with, then it's time for you to remove what doesn't serve you. But in order for you to figure out whether it needs to be done, you have to be willing to do an audit. You can't say, oh, well, this relationship is off limits because of this, that, and everything else. No, all relationships are subject to audit. And I'm at almost 40 minutes now. And you know what? I got grocery on the way. I'm going to go ahead and get going. Thank you to everyone who have been listening to the podcast. I've been glancing at the numbers and they seem to be getting more and more. I appreciate that. Thank you to those who have been watching the show on YouTube Daily Motion, KIRWKC.com for the main podcasting platform, KIRWKC on all social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I feel like I'm missing something, but whatever. So yeah, thank you again to everyone. When I say this, it's not empty words. I mean it. It's not empty words. And by now, you should know that I'm a person. I mean what I say. Thank you to everyone who's been supporting the show, who's been taking the time to listen. I've noticed some people have been going back and listening to my old episodes, I guess, and getting caught up and doing that. So that 5-star review by whoever it was on the Apple Podcast, which the show is also carried on. Thank you for that. If you like, if you comment, if you share, if you subscribe, if you've done any of that stuff, I sincerely mean this. Thank you. I appreciate it. Be blessed.